Interchange, the map that houses the store Kiba. Kiba is very much filled with loot, but if you mess around too much, you can die. For example, opening the door is a very big problem. But Kiba can also be filled with loot. For example, right here, in this raid over here, we end up looting the entirety of Kiba. Now this might just be a review video, of me just reviewing Kiba and kind of telling you all, oh yeah, Kiba's either good or bad, but I can say this much. You're just gonna have to wait and see. So, in this raid, this is like the first, I think, yeah, it's like the first raid I got into, Kiba. We got some sights, some miscellaneous gun attachments. Um, Other than that, actually no, yeah, we got some more stuff actually. We got a lot of miscellaneous gun parts and whatnot. I spent a little bit of time fixing the sight on my gun because I for some reason felt like changing it. Also, another thing, Kiba is apparently very much filled with mutant parts for some unknown reason. In this raid right here, we got some scopes, weapon attachments, an AK-103 is what I think I just picked up off the wall, PSO, some other stuff. Um, this isn't even the back of the room though. Like that's how good Kiba is. This is just like the front part of the room. We've already gotten a gun. And over here at the back, we've got a little spawn for dollars. You've got what two weapon boxes. This one spawned a Bastion for me, which was actually like I think it was 60 to 70k on the flea market, which is actually quite a bit of cash. That was actually a really nice find for just a 2x2 item. We had found an MP7 that was fully modded, which was actually worth a lot if you take off the suppressor and like the sights and stuff, and you sell them separately on the flea. So all in all, uh, this Kiba run was worth I think it was 350,000. Yeah, it was worth about 350,000. Um, so run was 350k. It was very rough at the start because of the fact that I think I got attacked by like 3 or 4 scavs. Like it was pretty nuts. So we got some stuff here. There were still a couple of weapon attachments. This took me quite a while to loot actually because I was busy sorting through everything. Now, obviously, most of this is gonna be slightly boring to people. You might want to skip ahead or whatever. But please don't. I recommend you watch the whole thing to understand it fully. Um, but yeah, this is just run one. This is like what you can kind of find. You can expect like really good attachments. My friend is actually one of the people that's they believe Kiba is very terrible, so I decided I would run Kiba to see if he was correct. I will say this right now. It was very rough. For example, here there was actually a guy inside already. So the way I was doing this was I was doing this on nighttime runs because daytime runs I found were too hard to actually get inside of the store because everybody was camping it. So people would sit up on this spot or they would camp inside of brutal or just random stores. But I got lucky that it was just a dude with a shotgun. So, right here, he's actually looted most of Kiba in such an odd way too. He's like thrown the guns all over the floor, mags taken out of guns. Everything is just on the floor for some unknown reason. Now, this amounted to what was 200,000. This was a total of 200,000. Um, It was a really crazy run because for just 200,000 rubles, I ended up spending like 30k on that guy, I think. Because Ash 12 ammo is not like super cheap or anything, and by like no means it's just not cheap. So like I made 200k off of this, but ended up spending some of it on more ammo again. Uh, like in the last clip, another AK-103, like you can find these quite often in here. So actually, if you're thinking of building a meta AK-103, if you want to get the gun, I recommend just go to Kiba, honestly, if you have the key already. Um, But Kiba 1 and Kiba 2 are very expensive keys. For example, I got my Kiba 1 key, or at least the front door, for 900k, and the other key is about 125k, or that's what it was currently at like the making of this video. So don't take any of those values to heart right now because they could fluctuate after this. Um, but yeah, this run was around 200k. So basically, like I was saying, Kiba is very hard to loot in short, unless you're running it on nighttime or potentially dead servers, then Kiba can be very hard to loot. So it's either very worth it or very much not worth it because of the simple fact that some people really like to loot Kiba. So even on nighttime raids, you might encounter one or two PMCs who are actually there for Kiba. So you could potentially get contested by a group of 3 or 4, like who knows. But basically, a lot of people like coming here, and in this clip, I think we ended up netting around. We netted 250,000 actually, so it wasn't too bad. But this is like to see if we can make back the money. So like this is like me checking if I've made back the money on both of the keys. So right now, I think we've made. Let me check real quick. We've made basically almost 1 million off of just 3 runs, and these aren't even like the best runs either. These are like really terrible runs compared to what I've seen actually. Because in one of the raids I did, I actually found a Reap IR thermal scope, but I ended up getting camped. Like I was explaining before, my emphasis on people liking the place for loot. I ended up getting camped and shot to death by another PMC. So you really want to be careful when you're going in and out of Kiba, because if you get caught going into Kiba, you're most likely going to die and you won't even get the chance to fight back. If you get caught leaving Kiba, there's a bigger chance for you to actually potentially do something about the other PMC, because you'll either hear them or you'll see them through the glass windows. They'll poke and prod at you. Um, my recommendation is not to shoot before somebody comes fully through the front door, because if you start shooting before they've even come through that door, they're going to take it as a sign of like, okay, he spent some ammo in his clip or mag or whatever, and depending on the gun you have, they'll know to push or not because you're wasting a lot of ammo. So I recommend you just wait for them to go like halfway into the second door, which is usually it opens inwards, and you'll be able to see like you'll know when to shoot basically. Just don't shoot if they're like trying to like jiggle peek it and stuff, because it'll end up in your death. I would know, and it's not fun. But yeah, third run 250k. So that's 350 plus 450k. So that's around 900,000 total. So we've covered the first Kiba key. We haven't even covered the second one yet, which is 125k. So we spent about 1 mil. We basically spent 1,025,000 rubles on both of the keys. So right here, this is a little bit of a shorter one. This was very quick and easy to loot. This was actually 360k, which is really odd. But it actually wasn't that odd because looking at the footage now, I actually had found I think it's two MPXs in this raid, or yeah, it's like two MPXs in this run that we found, and some moonshine as well. But we're not counting the moonshine. But if you do want to know, it added up to like 500k, so it was a lot more than what I've actually put it to. But we found two MPXs. We sold the Shift 4 scripts on them for around 90k each. We ended up selling the Bravo scopes as well for another 90k each, and then the guns themselves were like I think 20 to 30k to mechanic. So we ended up making a good amount of money on that one. And this raid, this is like the very last Kiba run. Um, and right now we're already in the green. We've already made back both of the keys in money and a little bit extra. But in this trade, the reason I have a VSS with two different lasers on it is because of the simple fact that I ended up fighting with two PMCs this run. So, uh, I haven't mentioned this yet, but Kiba can't be opened without power. So unless you go to power station and turn on the power, you can't go in there. So that's another big thing about Kiba. So that's a liability. So if somebody else turns on power and you're there, then you might as well go for it. But if you have to go turn on power, you have to be very cautious because people will turn it on when you're going there, or people will like attempt to camp the power. So whenever you go to like flip the switch on it, you'll potentially just get shot from a random spot. But I ended up getting very lucky and actually running up to the power station, and before they even like saw me, I actually watched them leave. So I ended up killing both of them. But that's that. In this raid, we ended up making 160k, which is actually not a lot. And the main driving force behind that is because we didn't sell the P90, which I think would have driven us to above 200k. So we ended up not selling that. And we ended up keeping some gun parts on some other raids as well. So we could have made a bit more, but not by a large margin. So these are like accurate values, I guess. But yeah, 160k is what we got out of this one, which is really odd. I ended up actually searching a little bit and kind of throwing stuff onto other things so I can make room. Because this is one of those raids where you find a lot of stuff, but it's mainly just miscellaneous parts to guns, so none of it is really worth a lot. So when you try and sell it, you're mainly making like 20k off of like one or two items at most. So a lot of the items here were really inexpensive. So I got pretty lucky. I killed the two PMCs at the beginning of the raid. But uh, right now, before the video potentially ends, is Kiba worth it? In my opinion, yes, I would say run Kiba in 12.11. Now, a lot of people might disagree, because of how much Kiba gets camped. But in my opinion, if you go in nighttime, and you don't even need night vision goggles, you can go in small if you want to. But if you go in nighttime to Kiba, you can actually get in there quite a lot of times. I died, I think, 3 or 4 times before I was able to. Well, actually, no, not before I was able to get anything. I died once after I had hit Kiba twice. So there was that, and then I died again just before this raid right here. So Kiba's worth it in 12.11. Um, Hopefully you guys make some money with this new info as well. Kiba is worth it in 12.11. I do recommend looting it. Just make sure you go nighttime, and make sure to like and subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. And peace.